these love bombing, this idealization, this worship that they have for you is going to touch all those things and make you feel like, oh my God, like this is what I was looking for, yes, and you're gonna start feeling great about yourself all of a sudden. Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kita, and this is Psychopath Exposure. Welcome to another Sybaritic segment where we're going to be talking about narcissists, psychopaths, and all sorts of toxic, disordered personalities. See, I screwed up my intro. See what you guys did? Oh, wait a second. I didn't mean to blame you. I take full responsibility for screwing up my own intro. Anyway, I'm going to be reading off probably the comment of the week. Comment on the week, okay? This is by Lindsay. Lindsay, thank you so much for sending this in, for commenting, because this is just perfectly illustrated. And it has to do, once again, with love bombing. And I'm going to go ahead and read it. I'm going to put it right here. There it is. So you guys can read along. And I may read, comment. So here we go. So it goes, okay, I'm going to start. Here's the stark reality. The love bombing stage Now I should have rehearsed this. Infantilizes. Okay, let's try again. The love bombing stage infantilizes you. Infantilizes you. I would imagine that means it turns you into a baby. And the So yeah, it turns you into a little baby, and the narc does it to feel infantilized too. It's the state where it all looks and feels like the unconditional love, acceptance, and validation that you needed and wanted as an infant to thrive and survive. All jokes aside, Lindsay, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. The narc taps into our attachment trauma, incomplete nurturing, and deficit of self-love. The narc manipulates their victim by love bombing into believing the stories and sex was real, so much so that the love we felt was actually our own self-love activated. What we don't want to accept is that love is extremely conditional. Someone has to love us so that we can love ourselves. And that's not psychologically healthy in the least. All right, I want to talk real quick about that before I continue with the comment. When she mentioned that it taps into our attachment trauma and incomplete nurturing and deficit of self-love. Everything goes back to your childhood. Everything goes back to our childhood, and you have to understand and remember how was love shown to you at an infantile state? Were you deprived of proper nurturing from your parents? Because if you grew up in a very toxic and abusive home situation, when you grow up, you're going to identify toxicity, abuse, mistreatment, domestic violence even, as love. And you're not going to even realize that you're doing this. This is all at a subconscious level. The narcissist is able to, infiltrate your head through the love bombing tactics, which, by the way, it's not like they're sitting there with a master plan. Okay, some of them do, like if they're after your money or something like that, but a lot of times, as I've covered in other videos, a lot of times they are so delusional that they actually fall in love with this idea that they have of their perfect mate, and they do that every single time they meet someone. Okay, unfortunately for us, when we're the ones crossing their paths, we're the ones that have to deal with that. But that love bombing, if you do have a history, if you did grow up in a toxic environment at home where there was abuse and you weren't nurtured properly, these love bombing, this idealization, this worship that they have for you is going to touch all those things and make you feel like, oh my God, like this is what I was looking for, yes, and you're gonna start feeling great about yourself all of a sudden. Okay, and it's like it's gonna trigger that self-love. It's gonna bring that up. All of a sudden, you're gonna start seeing things in color, if you were very depressed before and your life was just very, just dark and gloom, when these people come into our lives, it lightens up the mood, it lightens up the spirit. Okay? Unfortunately, that changes and that ends. Okay? And all the violence comes and the abuse comes and the devaluation comes. And because you were conditioned to that at an infantile level as well, it's going to trigger that. And that's the Stockholm syndrome type of thing that you guys are probably familiar with. You fall in love with your abuser. You fall in love with that. Why? Because we identify love as abusive, because that's what happened in our childhood. So all this love bombing, it's all psychological. It messes us up and takes us back to those early days. And we don't even know what's going on, but it feels familiar. It feels familiar. It feels incredible at some point, but then when the devaluation starts and all the abuse starts, that feels familiar. And we're already so conditioned to the love bombing. We're so conditioned to those epic highs that we want that again. We want that feeling again. And since we're left in a familiar, abusive, toxic, devaluing type of phase now, we're not able to say, hey, what the hell? This is unacceptable. How dare you speak to me like that? How dare you treat me like that? Like, what the heck's wrong with you? Like, I'm not putting up with this. We're not able to do that. As a matter of fact, it just feels familiar. It feels familiar to be abused. It feels familiar that someone is screaming at you and doing all these things that, as a kid, that's what your parents did. And remember, these are your parents that feed you and supposedly nurture you and take care of you. And if that's the way you were treated, and this person's treating you that way, that feels like home, doesn't it? And since we're so addicted to the early stage of the love bombing, we're so addicted to that, we want that, then it's very easy to stay in that abusive situation. It's very easy to stay if you grew up in a healthy environment. You have stronger boundaries, and the minute someone is treating you in a way that's completely disrespectful and just unacceptable, no matter how good it was, it's not going to be as hard to break from it. It's not going to be as hard to break from it. It's just harder for those of us that had a childhood with, back and forth type of love and those ups and downs, whether our father or our mothers, they were abusive, and then they nurtured us, then they were abusive, then they were nice to us. So it's like the abuse was rewarded, with love. You see what happens there? There was a reward system where you got abused, and it doesn't just have to be physically, it just could be psychologically or whatever, and then you were praised right after. You see what that does? And that's what narcissists do in the adult levels now. That's what they do. They mistreat you, and then they'll breadcrumb you with something, and it's almost like you're getting your treat. You know how you train dogs, they do something good and you give them a treat, and then they associate that behavior with getting the treat? I'm not saying we're dogs, but they are kind of doing the same thing to us, and we get hooked, and we can't even tell the difference. We can't even tell that just that little breadcrumb alone is kind of like the little puppy treat. They completely disrespect us, completely destroy our mental health, and then they give us a little breadcrumb of a treat, and it's like, yeah, that feels good. I'll put up with another 3 weeks of ghosting and of anxiety and of impending doom just so that I can get that little treat in the future. Welcome to a trauma bond. Not good, not good. So I continue. Lindsay says, self-love is within us, but we must work on it, being unconditional for ourselves. Forget the narc. They parasited on you. Let me try again. They parasited on your undeveloped psyche and emotional intelligence and put them in a blender. Let them be gone. You can make no difference in them anyway, and they are not at all who they seem. And, work on yourself. Actually, work on yourself. Do the work. Don't just say, I'm going to work on myself and then continue living the same life you've always lived, because nothing's going to change. You actually have to start doing different things to trigger a different outcome. When you experience the narc at their worst, and keep in mind, because this happens to all of us, when you experience the narc at their worst, that is who and what they really are living out of. Once that mask comes off, that's who they really are. I don't care What they showed you at the beginning, I don't care what they promised you. I don't care what memories you built. Once that mask comes off and you see the pain and the agony, and you see that monster and you see that demon in their eyes, that's who they really are. Everything else was a cover-up. And once you see it, it's not the last time you're going to see it. Remember, it is not the last time. Unless they really just have trauma and they're really working, and they're working with a therapist or a coach, and they're doing things, positive things for their life. They're engaged in a lot of, activities where they actually get to do things that build their self-esteem. They're not destroying people. They're not manipulating people. They're not gossiping about people. They're legit, and they have healthy interpersonal relationships, and they have self-awareness. When they fuck up, they can actually own up to it in detail, really apologize, not just give you an apology and then do the same stupid shit. I'm talking about when it's a real apology, a heartfelt apology, and you can see that they're going to work to become a better person. Then maybe there's hope. But most of the time, almost all the time, once that mask comes off and you see that demon, that's the truth. And when you see that shit, it's like, oh no. Now, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna stay? Are you gonna double down and hope for a miracle? Especially if you've seen this type of shit before? No, that's a test. That's a test that's a test from the universe, revealing to you once again what you need to see to know what you're dealing with. That's the truth. And if you have an ounce of self-love, you will look at that situation for what it truly is, and you will not gaslight yourself. You won't tell yourself these BS fantasy stories. You're going to look at things for what they really are and stay grounded in reality. You can't live this fantasy world. This fantasy world is for the fairy tales. You have to be based in reality. It's okay to dream, but once that mask comes off and you see that demon, don't say I didn't warn you. Their existential hell is not fixable or reachable. Again, you can't reach these monsters. It's like you're speaking to an irrational person. You're trying to have a rational conversation with an irrational person. That's not going to work, because you're coming at this whole thing from a rational perspective, and you're talking to someone from another planet that just there's no connection there. They don't understand the language. What do you expect is going to happen? Do you guys think that you're going to see eye to eye and you're going to resolve your issues and things are going to be dandy? No, they're completely irrational. They believe what they want to believe. They're out there. They're just sucking people's blood. They're trying to take your blood. They're trying to take your resources. They're trying to take your heart, and they're trying to take your soul. You can't fix them. Don't try it. This is a disorder that's not curable. And it's not your burden, and it shouldn't be your burden to take someone on like that that's gonna drain you of your energy, because it's not gonna stop. It's just not gonna stop. Once that mask comes off, like I can tell you, once my psychopath's mask just came off, it was like a fight every single day. It wasn't like we had a fight and we resolved it, and then we had like a few months of bliss, and then we had a fight and we worked it out. No, it was just walking on eggshells, and you feel the tension, and you just know this, you're gonna say something wrong at some point, and oh my God, it's like from 0 to 100, they just change. That demon comes out again, they storm out of the house, and you're left there like, oh my God, like what the hell did I do again? There's no turning back. That's the point of no return. And when that happens, all bets are off. All bets are off. Once you know this type of shit is happening, it's kind of like you're a volunteer now. And I know it's hard to get out. I know it's hard to get out because it took me like 7 times I tried to break up with her, and I just couldn't do it. Every time I tried to do it, I was like, oh, what the hell? I'm actually going to be alone? This person doesn't seem to care. I looked into their demonic eyes. I saw nothing. I got scared. So it's not easy to break away. I get it. I know it's not. That's why I have a coaching program. That's why I make these videos, so I can help you guys wake up, because that's what helped me. I had to do a lot of work on the situation to actually get through it. But it's not easy. If, however, you've been through this, if you've already healed from something like this, and then life tests you and you meet someone else and you see it, now you know where you're coming from. Okay, now you understand it a little bit better and you can see it. And you can tell yourself, hey, you know, I'm not attached to it. I'm seeing it for what it is. I'm calling it out for what it is. I understand it. And it's cool. That's life. Life is one big lesson. Life is one big lesson. And the second narcissist may not be a romantic partner anyway. It may be, you know, your boss. You may realize it may be a new employer or a client that you work with, a new contract that you just signed, and it could be a family member. All of a sudden you realize that a lot of people in your family are narcissists, and you have to deal with them. And now you know what you're dealing with. And the good thing is that it's not a romantic partner, so you're not having that intimacy with them. But now you realize that you don't have to put up with their bullshit. You don't have to call them. You don't have to answer the phone when they call you. You can actually start setting boundaries and keep yourself safe away from that toxic energy. So she goes on to say, cut all ties, block all contact possibilities, and delete all pics and messages. I say that all the time. Don't sacrifice your life for what was a fantasy and empty promises. Again, narcissists will sell you a dream. They'll sell you a dream really, really fast. I remember someone telling me how, oh, you know, they want to marry me. They told me that within 6 months they want to be married, and they want to get, by the end of the year they want to have a baby. They want me to get pregnant. We're gonna get a place together, and we're gonna send money to your parents. So don't worry, your parents are gonna be good. I'm gonna send money to them. But yeah, it was just this. They were such in a hurry to marry them, to have a kid with them, right? And it's like, this is someone that had just had a baby. Like the kid wasn't even like a month old yet, and was already selling a dream to the new girl. It was already selling a dream to the new girl, and the new girl, being so stupid, believed all that shit, believed it, and got entangled in that situation. And let's just say it didn't end well for them. I'm sorry. You get what you deserve, dumbass. You get what you deserve. We all do. You know, everything that we do has a consequence. It's unfortunately. And some consequences are devastatingly toxic, and some not so bad. And some come with a future karmic debt that we have to spill blood for. And some is just a life lesson that we can, learn from and later transform into a positive. And it's like, wow, this situation was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. It was a huge lesson. I lost myself. I lost a good job. I lost a good relationship. I lost friends, whatever it may be. But then we learned from it. We worked on it. We worked on ourselves. We healed. We transformed. We became alchemists. And now it's one of the best things that could have happened because of where we are now as a result of that. So just you just got to be honest with yourselves. Everything that you do, hey, there's going to be a consequence to this. Can I handle the consequences? Can you see 10 steps into the future and say, hey, wait, this may be good right now, but 10 steps ahead from this person, it's going to do X, Y, Z, and it's going to, wow, this is not going to end well, is it? Holy shit. They're going to take over my company. They're going to take over my house. They're going to take over my social circle, and I'm going to be left with nothing. Maybe I shouldn't invest in that. Maybe I shouldn't leave this job that I have now for this one that's uncertain and uncanny and gives me anxiety, right? And it just doesn't feel right. It's not that you're paranoid, okay? It's not that you're hypervigilant. Not all the time. Sometimes yes, but not all the time. Sometimes it legit is your gut telling you, hey, stupid, what are you doing? Like you don't need to make that sacrifice right now at all. It's unnecessary. It just came out of nowhere. It makes no sense. Your friends will tell you, like, dude, like, I've known you all your life, and all of a sudden you're doing things that are completely irrational. Don't you see you're under a spell? You're under a spell and you think you're in love. Like, those are all chemicals. Like, take your time. See how you feel in 6 months. See how you feel in a year. What is the hurry? What is the hurry? And that's what happens when you get love bombed. Your brain is being pumped and flooded with all these feel-good emotions that it's intoxicating. It really is. It feels like you're intoxicated. So it makes you dream and fantasize about all these irrational things that don't even make sense with someone that doesn't even remember what they said yesterday, and they're changing their story, and it's like, what's your motivation? Like, what's your motivation of wanting to marry me and have a kid when you just had a kid and you're separated from the mother? Instead of trying to make that work and be there for your child, you're trying to like get with someone new. Because that sounds like you have a void that you need to fill. That sounds like you're trying to get back at the mother for something, and you're trying to just monkey branch into someone else and try to make that wrong situation right with someone else at the expense of that new person's mental health, at the expense of totally ruining their life because you're a fucking narcissist and you're full of shit. And you're going to drop them and you're going to screw that whole situation up anyway because that's what you do. Oh, okay. You know what? I don't need to jump head over heels into the situation. Prove to me, right, that all these things that you want, okay, if you want these things, they're going to happen in the future, but we don't need to do these things now. We can build something. We can enjoy ourselves, right, and let all those things organically happen later. It's great to talk about. It's great to have a future goal. It's great to know what your partner's intentions are 5-10 years down the line, but it doesn't mean that you have to do those things now. Don't put the carriage before the horse, ladies and gentlemen. Learn to live in the present moment. All you have is today. All you're responsible for are the waking hours that you have today. You don't need to make a life-altering decision today with someone that you just met, that's selling you a dream, that just 9 months ago or even less than that got out of a crazy situation that you can see that they're trying to duplicate. Isn't that what the narcissist does? They try to duplicate the situation over and over and over and over and over again, and it never works out. And all you guys think that your narcissist ex is walking into the sunset happily ever after with their new supply. That is complete horseshit. The narcissist never walks into the sunset with their new supply like you think, like you create in your mind. They're never happy. They're never happy. Just because they put stuff on social media and you see the new supply is so happy and posting things, even if they're getting married, even if they're having kids, remember what you went through. That's what the new supply is going through too. They just don't know it yet. They don't know why they have anxiety with someone that's supposedly the love of their life. They don't know how things moved so fast and their life got flipped, turned upside down, and now their partner is ghosting them and disappearing and showing up with perfume. He's smelling like women's perfume, and he has to take a shower when he gets home before they can get to bed together. And they're doing just things that don't make sense, that don't add up. They're gonna go through the same thing you did. And it really, really sucks. And I know that you're probably mad at the new supply, but don't be, because remember, you were the new supply at some point too. It's the piece of shit narcissist that you always have to remember. They're the monster. They're the enemy. Those are the people that you have to keep an eye out for. Those are the ones that it's like, hey, I don't care what they do. I just know from experience that they're never gonna be happy. They never will. They're in a constant purgatory or hell inside their mind. They have to lie, cheat, and steal, manipulate, connive, gaslight. That's what they do. Did I fail to mention triangulate? Because they love to triangulate their two lovers. They love doing that. It never ends well. It never does. The truth always comes out. They always get caught. Someone always becomes wise. And sometimes some of us expose the other person and ruin it for them because that's what they deserve. Sometimes we have to pay a karmic debt for that too. Sometimes that's a good investment. I don't know. Maybe. You guys decide for yourself. But you know what? Just remember, when you're feeling these intense emotions with someone that you just met, and they're selling you this dream, and you start feeling that familiar feeling, and you don't understand how someone can just make you feel like so alive all of a sudden. You do have to look at that and realize that, hey, no one should be a source of your happiness. Don't ever put the source of your happiness on someone else. Self-love comes from within. You need to spend time by yourself to heal and to develop this true self-love. A relationship needs to be a byproduct. A byproduct. You should be able to be happy with yourself, with your friends, with your pets, with your work, with the things that you bring to this planet. What's your mission? What's your life purpose? Those are the things that need to fill you. I remember I had a mentor, not the mentor I always talk about, another one, a spiritual, a much older man, and he would tell me about finding those things that actually bring me fulfillment. So that fulfillment shouldn't be from a partner that's not a good fit for me, right? You need to do things that you can lose yourself in. You go into that zone, like when you're playing a musical instrument or you're playing a sport, and you go into that zone and it disconnects you from that toxic energy, and you're just present. Those things that fill you, those are the things that we need to do. And when you're actually committed to those things on a daily basis, and you're actually doing things that nourish your energy, you're going to start raising your frequency. You're going to attract people from a higher frequency. That's what's going to start happening. And then as a byproduct, you will attract the one that's a good fit for you. If you're lucky, you might attract your twin flame. If you're lucky. If you're not, if you haven't done enough work, you may attract another narcissist. And you may need to call that out and navigate through that, right? And dodge some more bullets. And that's okay too. That's okay too. This is part of your journey. This is part of your story. What you don't want is to blindly lose yourself into someone that's selling you a dream and their actions don't line up with their words. Okay? What you don't want to do is confuse abuse and toxic, unacceptable behavior with love. Because that's not love. That's some toxic distortion. That's the only thing a narcissist can offer you. Toxic distortions of what a healthy individual brings to the table. Don't be confused at the two. And if you are, pull back. Take a step back and say, okay, wait, I'm confused. I'm going to pull back a little bit. I need to look at this thing. I need to see how this plays out before I jump into anything, before I sever something good. You know, just what's the hurry? Just pull back, look at the situation, let it play out. The thing with these narcissists is that their true intentions will eventually reveal themselves. You know, it always does, especially when you like ask God or your higher power to reveal what it is that you need to see. It's always revealed to you. Just sometimes it happens like right at the last second, like everything will be so good, and then all of a sudden, here it is. This is what you needed to see. And when it's revealed to you that you're being cheated on, when it's revealed to you that your partner is a toxic infidel, when that card is played, you have to act on that. You have to act on that, because that is the point of no return. Like, you know how you guys know how I feel about cheating. Once that card is played and you see it and that's revealed, it's like, wow, thank you. Thank you for showing me what I needed to see, because I guarantee you that the longer that would have gone, the more it would have hurt later into the future. When you realize that you've been cheated on for a year and a half, 2 years or longer, when you realize that the whole thing was bullshit and you were just a side piece, that's crushing. Okay, that's crushing. So it's a blessing in disguise for these things to be revealed to you at an early moment in your entanglement. The faster it's revealed to you, the faster you can get out from it, and the less trauma you're gonna have to carry. So rather than looking at this situation like this is the worst thing that happened, try to look at it like it was supposed to happen. It happened for you, to wake you up okay? So that you can wake up and to your true potential and actually grow from this and transform this toxic energy into that positive energy where you're gonna rise into a higher frequency. Don't worry about the narcissist. They're gonna sink lower into hell because that's they're stuck there. That's their trap, okay? That's their punishment for whatever it is. Maybe that's their karmic, punishment, to live this life in that perpetual nightmare. And they project that perpetual nightmare into us when we're trauma bonded and we're ruminating. It's a perpetual nightmare, but that's just a reflection of what the narcissist and the psychopath is. That's what they're going through in their mind too, for their own reasons that has nothing to do with you, okay? So the work that I like to do in my coaching program is to help you guys heal from these perpetual nightmares, to heal from this addiction to this trauma bond, to this toxic cycle, okay? And to be able to decipher when you're being love bombed, when the psychopath or narcissist hoovers you and starts, telling you sweet nothings to your ear, and you start believing it and you get entangled with them again. Oh, Kita, I went back to him again. I didn't listen to you and look what I did. I'm ready to work with you now. You know how many emails I get, like all the time, every day, hundreds a week. And it's like, I told you, but you chose to believe the devil. You chose to believe those sweet nothings that you already had notebooks of evidence that proved and documented evidence, right? That had been revealed to you that they were lying, and you chose to believe that bullshit line they gave you. And here you are again. And now you're worse off than you were a year ago. Because had you done the work a year ago, you would have been in a much better situation now. But it's never too late to start. So if you're interested in working directly with me, go ahead and shoot me an email or click the link below in the description. My website is psychopathexposure.com/coaching. And you can get more details and information on how we can set up some private coaching sessions online over Zoom. And I can help you guys get to where you need to get to in your life. Also, I do have a free ebook that you can download as well. I also have a link for that in my description. And it's on the 5 steps of going no contact with a psychopath narcissist. And that's really where everything needs to start. You have to go no contact with these predators. You got to edge them out of your life and start developing healthier relationships, healthier relationships. There's no use beating a dead horse or continuing to fight or argue with these people. You need to start getting these people out of your life. And I detail a lot of things that you need to do in that book to help you guys get started on that. So it's absolutely free, and you can download it straight to your phone or your computer. Just click the link below and it's all yours. Thanks for all your support, guys. Thanks for the love and support and for commenting. Please share your stories. If this video resonates with you, share it with those who you feel are in need. Share it with your friends, the ones that don't understand. Like, send it to them, be like, hey, look, see what I'm talking about? This is it. This is what I'm going through. I'm not making this stuff up, because I know how your friends will just dismiss you. They need to see this shit. And a lot of times once they start getting it, then they realize that maybe it happened to them. Sometimes this information helps them get over a trauma. I know in my situation it did, so you never know. You never know. If you got some value out of the video, please drop a like and also subscribe to the channel so you can help the community grow. You can hit subscribe, click on the bell icon, and you'll get a notification on your phone every time I drop a new video. Thanks again for you guys for participating in the live chat. I love interacting with y'all. I love the healing that's taking place, the comments that I'm getting, the emails that I'm getting with success stories. I love it. It's what drives me. So keep them coming, and I hope you're having an amazing day. And I look forward to talking to you guys in the next video. And that's all. That's all I got for today. I think I've spoken too much, so I'm gonna shut up now and I'm gonna go so you guys can have see, I don't even know how to end the video. So I think I'm talking too much, so I'm just gonna end the video abruptly right now.